What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Another week. Captain, how you doing?
Oh, living dreams
Well, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be on here. You've been with me all day. You've been
all
with me
day.
all day. And it's Captain.
I ate dinner without you, but
You did. It's true. It's true. It's cool. It's probably because we live in different states. Otherwise, it actually might have been.
Could have been that too. I did take
Might have been all day.
30-minute nap, but probably pretty good that I didn't take a 30-minute nap with you. Whoa.
Yeah, we wouldn't have cuddled. I need my space when I sleep.
Yeah. Please.
I kind of need to just. I don't like to be looking at anyone. I don't like to be touching anyone. Just want to sleep.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the heat, so you can stay away.
You don't like the body heat.
I
But
don't.
anyways, tonight we're here tonight. We're talking with Captain Redbeard, who is also my community manager. You help me run, and there's a big reason why he kind of does that. The reason I brought him on as a community manager is because of everything that we're really going to be talking about today. Integrity, he's one of my good friends, but the reason that we're really good friends is the brutal honesty that we both share. Our habit of being just basically just blatantly upfront and brutally honest about every situation. So there's a lot of integrity, there's a lot of respect, and there's very few people I would trust to kind of help grow this community more than I have with Captain Redbeard. So one of the main reasons why he is in that position. So I appreciate all your help. I know you're like, listen, you don't have to. It's fine, but at the same time, it is important. It is important. I'm very happy to have you in the team. You've been invaluable thus far in everything that we do. So, but for those that don't know, Captain and I, we met. Gosh, how long ago? It was like a year or so.
It's been a year and it's been like a year and 3 months, probably 4 months. I'll say it's been September-ish of last year, August of last year.
It's been a good while.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels longer, and then sometimes it just doesn't feel like it feels much shorter. I'm like, wow, it's already been over a year, and the other days I'm like, I feel like we've known each other for like 10 years. So, and for those,
old.
I know. So today we're going to be talking about our values. When we really kind of got to know each other, one of the things that really kind of drew me to you was, besides the beard was number one, to be honest. It's hard not to get a little drawn into fantastic beards. I think every guy that we ever connect with is like, dude, we love your beard, right? Like, the beard
it's always about beards.
It's just one of those things that just connects men together, besides other things, like boobs or food. Mostly food. Boobs won't bring a man together. A lot of times I'll tear it apart. However, food, beards, and food will typically do that. But one of the main things that drew me was again, it was attitude, integrity. Like you were someone that just basically told it like it was. You didn't bullshit. You didn't just say things just to say things and make people feel good. You told them how it was, and I was like, I like that, because that's a lot how I am, which can get us into trouble sometimes. People kind of take offense to it. Sometimes we hurt people's feelings, but it's not like we're trying to, right? Like,
well, sometimes. And that's kind of I guess I can chime in right there. Like that's kind of like the difference between doing something to hurt someone's feelings and knowing that it's going to hurt someone's feelings to do it. Is kind of like that, really teetery-tottery board that we ride on, right? With trying to be as honest as possible. And one of the things that I learned from a really young age was my mom kind of instilled it in you that as long as you're honest about things, I get in a lot less trouble.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm the person who knocked over the candle and broke it all over the floor, as long as I went to my mom and said, "Hey, I knocked this over," and I didn't try to like hide it, I got not rewarded, but like I got a lot less.
Got your little
crap
gold
for it.
star for the day.
I got a gold star. Me?
From your mom.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, on the table. And what's up, Rivalin? What's up, buddy? And Rivalin actually and I had this conversation just yesterday about being honest and truthful with people and how it's a very fine line to juggle. Is it worth hurting somebody to be honest with them, or is it better to just kind of let it go? And I've just learned that I'm a lot less anxious around people if I just say it how it is, and I don't have to. I'm a person who anxiety kind of controls part of my life, and so I'm a lot less anxious knowing that I'm hiding stuff and all that if I just say how I feel. So a lot of times I just say how I feel, and the consequences have been a lot less normally than.
And that's the thing, like, there's a difference between, if going up to a stranger and just being brutally honest with them about anything that's on your mind. That's not really kind of what we're talking about. We're more talking about like situations that you might be in where maybe you're asked your opinion. You're asked like what you think about certain things or how you feel about this. There's a lot of people that kind of skirt around being honest. They would rather, try to make you happy versus actually sharing your true opinion of something. And we have friends that don't always come to us for things because they know that we'll tell them the truth. And
I've lost in the last, so we met each other, through content creation and so forth and whatnot. And I started in content creation July of last year, something like that. And I've actually lost friends along the journey because of that exact reason. Because people don't know how to take brutal, honest criticism constructively. They would rather run from it, continue doing what they're doing, and I'm just not that kind of person. I just kind of, if I think that you're doing something that is harmful to yourself, or if you're doing something that the general audience won't be entertained by or anything like that, I just normally say it how it is, and it definitely gets you in trouble sometimes. But
I think a lot of that has. Let's be honest. There are a lot of people that don't want to hear the truth on certain things. They don't want to be told, "Hey, you've been streaming for 5 years. You probably need to start figuring things out at this point if you want to grow." Some people don't want to hear that. Listen, you're fucking boring, man. And I'm not saying that's how we're actually coming out and saying it. Like, we're never like rude about things. But if your content's not going to be good, we want to tell you the truth so you improve. It's not about hurting your feelings. We actually truly want to see you succeed. And if by just being like, oh yeah, if we do what a lot of people do and just try to play on your feelings, we're like, you'll do fine. You're doing great. Just keep moving forward. Just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually things will work out in your favor. That's not good advice at all. That is the worst advice you can give to someone, because there's a lot of opportunity to reflect and see like, oh, that's good advice. One of the reasons that we're really, really good friends is because you'll tell me if, no, that was boring, or you'll be like, that was really fun. You'll tell me, or if I'm getting a little moody, you're like, Mighty, don't respond, Mighty, don't. No,
it's November. Stop it.
No. But it's that level of honesty that I think more people truly, truly need in their lives. You don't need to surround yourself with people that tell you what you want to hear. You're not going to grow. You'll never grow. In my opinion, you'll never grow.
Right? Because one of the things that comes with honesty is actually making sure that it's not just always negativity too, right? Like
Yeah.
one of the things that we have to make sure along being honest in your journey and what you say and how you do it and stuff like that is definitely making sure that you're very honest about the goods and the bads, not just the bads, right? Because then if you just start to focus on the bads,
Then you come off as negative.
all the time.
Or as someone that's just picking apart and only sees the bad in what they do.
Yep.
What we do. So it's a very good point, and something that, you know, probably need to work on myself a little bit. It's easy to pick apart the bad. It's more noticeable, right? Like the bad shit stands out far more than the good, because we're trained to kind of like embrace the good. It's just one of those things that happen. Great, it happens. But when something bad or negative or something's not working, you notice it 10 times more. It sticks out. And so it's really easy to focus on the negative. So you're right. We need to, if we're being brutally honest, sometimes we also need to be just as honest about the good things. Telling people that, you know, you appreciate them and you value them as friends. Which I know it makes you weird when I say it.
I'm not
I'm gonna kiss that forehead.
I'm not a compliment guy.
I know.
I never have been. I'm not a present guy. I'm not any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? I really like, I know that this sounds really bad, but I want to know what a okay.
That makes
Thank
more
you,
sense.
wife.
That makes so in the chat
What do you
room,
mean
for
a
those that are
sandwich?
listening on the podcast on Spotify a little bit later, one of our beautiful members, wifey, was like, as a teacher, we do what we call a sandwich, and we're just like, we're fat. Both of us are fat, so we're like, sandwich. You know, we're hungry. We'll eat. But that's not really what it meant. It was you start with a positive, you talk about a negative, and then you go back to a positive. So that way, you know, they're surrounded with love.
Well, and you know, we talk about this, like, and I said, Rival and I had this conversation kind of yesterday about some of this type of thing, and one of the things that I want to make sure that, like, I mention and bring up about this, and I'll kind of share a little bit of the story of what Rival and I are talking about. We have a mutual I don't know if I want to call it a friend, but we have a mutual acquaintance now that is in the content creation world who is trying to put out some content, but it's definitely one of those things where, like, you can tell it's like that, like, you're in 8th grade and you don't care if you get a 78 on your test as long as you pass, kind of thing. You can tell that's it's how it reflects very heavily in the content that he's putting out. And he asks quite often for advice or for, you know, your thoughts on certain things that are going on. And I kind of ruined the friendship that him and I had previously, because I was very harsh about how things were conducted and how things were, but it's because he's one of those people that doesn't want to hear anything negative. He just wants you to kind of pat him on the back and tell him good job. And Rivalet and I were talking about it yesterday and trying to figure out a way that is appropriate to tell him, like, hey buddy, like, it's almost embarrassing that you're trying at this level, kind of a thing. And it's hard to put into words without being, and I know that you make fun of me all this time, and I always say this to people, that I will start a phrase out with, I'm not trying to be mean, or I'm not trying to be a dick, or whatever, because a lot of times what I say can be...
I say this in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, I say this in the nicest way possible, but there's always a but. And it's just one of those things where it's very difficult to be honest sometimes, knowing that certain people can't take honesty. And the sandwich idea, like that wifey just brought up about the positive, negative, positive, is a very good way to put it. But at the same time, I also don't know. I don't know how to be positive sometimes about some situations. Like sometimes you just need to hear that, like that brutal honesty, in my opinion. And that was kind of mine and Rivalin's conversation yesterday that we were talking a little bit about back and forth. And so it kind of made me chuckle whenever you brought up that you wanted to talk about, integrity with relationships and brutal honesty and behind it, because sometimes like brutal honesty doesn't really relate to relationships at the end of the day.
It's not always gonna listen. Being brutally honest sometimes. When I say brutal honesty, it sounds very aggressive, but it's more meant to kind of signify like there's like we're not going to tell you what you want to hear. Rather we're going to tell you what you need to hear. We're going to share our feelings. We're going to share our true feelings, our true opinions on the matter. We're not going to hold back. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to be dicks about it. But sometimes people need to be, a little more aggressively told for things to kind of sink in. If you're not solid in your stance, they're just going to move on beyond that. Now, that being said, we're not going to say anything behind your back that we wouldn't say to your face. That's one thing. Listen, I've not to go off topic too much, but I remember when you found someone was like lying about one of your friends. You just go right into their chat, right? This, and it's like basically called them out a liar right live on their stream. Like, listen, no, you're absolutely lying, and they didn't know how to respond.
Yeah, I don't do dishonesty well, okay, and I have this this fine line that I kind of walk, that I get called an asshole and a dick and stuff often, but it's because I don't walk that line very well of being sensitive to people's feelings sometimes when it comes to somebody wronging me in some sort of way. And dishonesty is like that big wrong for me. Like, you could go out and steal $1 million from me, and if you told me you stole $1 million from me, I'd be mad at you. But if you lied to me about it, I'm gonna be even more mad at you. I'm just that kind of person. And so I come off very like brash sometimes to some people because I don't do well with lying. And so if you lie to me, even if you're one of my close friends, I'm going to instantly call you out. Like, I'm just going to like right now call you out and be like, don't give me that shit. Like, I know better. And sometimes that just doesn't go well. I
mean, being honest in every situation, feelings aside, hurting people's feelings aside, every situation, you should be honest in what you do. And we'll get into more in depth into like integrity side of things. But, I think being honest and upfront, it really shows a lot about someone's character and their morals. Someone that is willing and always honest, you're going to find more value in what they say and in what they do. It's just a natural tendency to where if you know someone is going to be and speak truth to you. No, well, sometimes it's their truth, their opinion. I don't want to confuse opinion with truth, because sometimes opinions are not necessarily right. Like, may not be the best option, but a lot of people respect your opinions more because you're more open, upfront, and honest about things. It definitely makes life a lot easier too. Like, you don't have to worry. There's no stress. There's no anxiety over, are they going to find out I lied? There's none of that nonsense. You don't have to deal with that. Just be honest about what you feel. I can imagine, even again, we use content creation because both of us have done this, and most of the people that end up watching and listening to the show end up are all usually content creators. But if I was to just kind of like, someone asked me my opinion and I gave them just some sort of like, not necessarily a dishonest answer, but I wasn't honest with my opinion, it's a disservice to them. It doesn't allow them to reflect. And again, I think Wifey brings up a good point. Like, you find a couple of things that you do like about what they do. Share those. Like, you know what? I like that you do this on your stream. I think that's really great. I would probably work on this, but I also really like this. I think that's kind of what she was talking about with the sandwiching, which is a good way to kind of be honest about situations that you might not, because being brutally honest, and a good example of this is Squirrel, our buddy Squirrel, Papa Grunt. We are brutally honest with him. But because being kind of sugarcoating things doesn't work with him. Hell, being brutally honest sometimes doesn't work. He's going to do what he wants to do anyways. But if we were to sugarcoat it would absolutely never work for him. Absolutely never work for him. So, you just gotta say what's on your mind. Tell people what it is. It'll build respect with your peers. It strengthens your relationships with your friends. Again, it's one of the reasons why Captain is my friend. Because he's going to tell me when I'm fucking up. He's going to tell me when I'm being an idiot. And likewise, I'm going to do the same. He's seen my side where I was like, listen, we can't do that anymore. Like, I'm straight up honest. Now, it caused problems with other people that can't handle it. They can't handle me being upfront and honest about a situation. If I'm upset, I'm going to tell you I'm upset. This upset me. This is why. It doesn't mean that I harbor bad feelings all the time. Doesn't mean I hate you. Situations will be upsetting. It's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. For the most part, I think it keeps a lot of the toxic people away. When I say toxic, I mean like the people that are blatantly out to deceive. I'm not saying it's going to work all the time, because we know some that have been trying their best to get back at you for calling them out for being a liar. But that's mostly because you put them on blast. If you had not done that, they still probably would not be a part of your network. Deception and honesty don't do well together in the same spaces. Deception and honesty don't do well together in the same space. People that are dishonest, if people that are dishonest have too much at risk to being found out by people that are honest, especially people that are brutally honest. They're willing to talk and say things that are on their mind. They're going to call you out openly if you're outright lying. That is not a place that someone that is trying to deceive wants to live in. I think mostly it really it kind of builds integrity. And when, and for those that don't, I'm not trying to call anyone dumb, but for the sake of clarity, for those listening, integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one's looking. And I think it should extend further to say it's telling the truth regardless of the expected outcomes. If you know that you're going to hurt someone's feeling by being honest, you should still be honest. Find a way to say it to where it cushions the blow a little bit more. Sometimes people need to feel that. Sometimes people need to know the negative, even if the initial knee-jerk reaction is to be a little upset by it or defensive.
And I think the hardest part about all of this is when do you when is the right time to be honest and when's the right time to let it go, right? I think that is kind of my biggest hurdle. That sometimes I get told I could have just not said anything.
I think that's gonna seriously be on a case by case basis.
That is 1,000%.
If someone brings you like, some home cooking that isn't quite the best, I wouldn't be like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, because that's horrible tact for one.
I would.
My mom's is so much better. Those are rude things. Those might be things. That's not being brutally honest. That's being a dick.
You see, that is not being a dick. Listen, so I will argue with this one, because actually Becca and I just kind of had this conversation the other day, and I told
now, are we talking about your significant other? Like, you're telling her?
Yeah.
If you're telling her that your cooking's bad, that's up to you. That's
no.
That's the bed you sleep in there.
So we were talking about my son's mom and his great grandmother on her side, and how Thanksgiving time everybody supposedly loves this woman's stuffing, okay? And I think we talked the other day about on your Twitch show about how stuffing's my favorite Thanksgiving food, okay? I will fight you over the stuffing. If there's leftover stuffing and there's only enough for one person to take, I will cut you in like a Walmart parking lot to take that stuffing, okay? That's just how it's going to go down. Well, so funny story about all of that. This woman's stuffing is literally the worst thing in the world. Literally, it's like a soup. It is so like, it's like
stuffing is not meant to be soupy.
When you put it on your plate, there is literally juices that like run into other stuff, and like it's gross. Okay, so I one time, whenever I had it, was asked afterwards what everybody thought of the dinner, and I said honestly, I'm not sure why everybody loves the stuffing, because it left a lot to be desired. Well, apparently I'm an asshole for saying this, because one, I broke a little old lady's heart, but on top of it, the funniest part about it is I found out everybody else who kept saying the stuffing is so great literally doesn't really like it. They say that to make her feel better. And I'm not trying to be mean. I would rather the old lady change her recipe and make me good stuffing than me care about the fact that the stuffing, I hurt her feelings. Okay, so
but that goes into another thing. Let's piggyback off of that a little bit more, because I think it's a good thing to discuss. The family has been lying to her for years. So this whole time, this woman thought she was doing great, that she had this amazing stuffing. Who's at fault for would it have been better the first year to go, Grandma, that's probably not, you probably shouldn't do that again, let's change the recipe? Or just be like, Grandma, that was the most amazing stuffing ever for years on end.
Yeah,
to the point where now we got brutally honest Captain comes in there. It's like, your stuffing was yet to be, I don't understand why everyone loves the stuffing. That poor woman would have been devastated because her family lied to her. So,
but that's my point.
So like, I mean that begs the question then. Like, being honest and upfront would have made life a lot easier for everybody involved. Everyone involved. The family, they would have been put in that awkward situation. They saved themselves. It saved you. It would have saved you, the opportunity of having to look like a butthole because someone asked you what you thought of the dinner. I'm sure the rest of it was great.
No, listen.
He's like, no, it really wasn't.
Okay.
That wasn't the only thing I was called an asshole for that day.
Well, no, it was the only thing I was called an asshole for. But you know how okay. I don't know how we're getting on food topics here.
It always happens.
I know. Food just rules life, right? So, Westfall, Wifey, Rival, and anybody that's out there, I want to know your opinions on this. So, you know how just because you've had something all your life, it's what like is almost expected? Meaning, like, if you have meatloaf that tastes a certain way, everybody always thinks that that's how meatloaf should be. So they compare everybody else's meatloaf to what you've had all your life, right? Okay. That, just because you developed a taste for shitty meatloaf doesn't mean that other meatloafs aren't good because they don't taste like your shitty meatloaf. I just want to point that out. So, when your grandmother overcooks the turkey by 4 hours, the stuffing is soup, and she basically makes like green bean casserole, which who the hell makes green bean casserole anyway?
You heard my discussion on green bean casserole.
I don't eat very much of the dinner, and then I get asked, is something wrong? Do you not feel good? And I have to respond back honestly, because I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't feel good. I'm going to be like, it wasn't that great. and then everybody gets mad at me because little old grandma's like, oh, did I not do a good job? No, you didn't. I'm sorry. But that's the kind of asshole that I am. So I apologize ahead of time if you make me something to eat and it's not very good, is all I'm going to say.
But this goes, again, the reason I thought this would be a great discussion to have, because one, I know that you're brutally honest and you'll tell people straight up, listen, your food, that wasn't the best. Now, we have disagreements in food a lot. But this goes into the again, it goes back to integrity, and as well as personal responsibility. Taking responsibility for your actions, and going back to poor grandma, who probably is trying her hardest to cook a meal that everyone loves. You got to understand, like, I guarantee this woman wants to give her family a great meal that everyone enjoys. But the responsibility of the rest of the family to be honest is there. I don't necessarily fault you for being an asshole for saying what no one else wants to say.
Here's the thing. Let's be real, okay? Not everybody's grandmother should be a cook, right?
No.
Like, there are some grandmas.
But if the family it truly doesn't like the food, maybe they should contribute. Maybe they should help out. Maybe I feel like a family get together, and this is just me. If you don't like the food, bring food. Offer things that will kind of bring their taste. But I'm talking to you on this, but I'm not saying that's what you would have to do. But there's the whole onus of a responsibility of everyone else involved with this.
Agreed. It's one of those things that's really hard because, like, I'm one of those people who, like, I firmly believe that anybody can cook as long as you just, like, care just a little bit, right? Yeah. Like, all it takes is just a little bit of effort. And I'm one of those people that, like, if you dry out a turkey, listen, you could have cooked it. You could have cooked a turkey. Like, it's simple. You're just putting.
This also goes back to what you said earlier. You know, we don't know what they grew up like. I didn't have probably a good steak until I was in my 20s.
Yeah, and,
I haven't eaten a good steak until I was in my 20s.
That's
same with pork chops, and I had the hardest, chewiest steaks. I'm surprised I'm still chewing some of those steaks probably. Growing up, that was the bar for steaks. Maybe, and some of these people, they don't necessarily venture out. We're looking at someone's grandmother who, again, grew up in a very different era. Who's to say that her parents were not very good cooks as well, and that's the food she grew up on, learning to love. Hasn't really, experienced it, like your whole meatloaf analogy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, at what we can go back to, like, a little bit here. But there's certain times you should be an asshole and you shouldn't be, and I'm really bad at being the judge of that. So, brutal honesty a lot of times with me ends up being bad sometimes because I don't understand why people even ask me for my opinions anymore. Because if you didn't ask me, I wasn't going to say anything.
I think, that goes back to
so, like,
they know that you are going to be honest.
Yeah, but do you want me to be honest? Are you trying to get me in trouble?
I think some people truly value the opinion of those that are going to be honest, even if it's going to temporarily and in the onset, they might not be expecting the answer. Maybe they were hoping for maybe a little bit more than what you give them. So maybe even your responses are like, "Wow, I did worse than I thought I did." Some people don't react well to those. We know this. But if they're going to continue asking, it means that they understand and they value your honesty. And that's something that we talked about a little bit earlier. They value your opinion because they know you're not going to just tell them what they want to hear, like their family has done for years. With their runny ass. I'm so blown away when you said it was like soup.
It was literally like soup, like no joke. Like, literally, when you scooped it out onto your plate, it literally it reminded you of the inside of a chicken pot pie.
That's insane to me. It's insane
Like,
to
I
me.
don't want to call it soup. It's almost like gravy like. You know what I'm saying? But it's like there was a gravy with it, and you didn't put gravy on it. That's just, and I was like, listen, this is not how bread is supposed to be. But you know, and that's just kind of the like back onto the track of, you know, as far as honesty, relationships and stuff going. I've been known to be that person my whole life. So now when I start doing those types of things, people just expect it. But a lot of the people, I have been told throughout my life that they respect the fact that I'm that way, because I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not going to make you feel better by trying to coddle you and tell you that you're doing something right, or you're doing, you know, this or that, when you're not. It falls back to the same way that I manage my work. I'm a project manager for a large tech company, and I'm the same way there. I'm the first person who will tell you thank you when you get done doing something or whatever else. But I'm the person who, I have a rule. I have one rule, and that is to let me know honestly before shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
I don't want shit to hit the fan and then I find out. Tell me beforehand so I can try to do damage control before shit hits the fan. And honestly, I've had so many people over, you know, the 10 years of me doing this now, who have come to me and told me that they appreciate the way that I work, because I will go to bat for my team. I will continue to go to bat for my team as long as I trust them. And the only thing that I need from you for me to be able to trust you is you just be honest with me. If you need a couple extra weeks, tell me that. But don't tell me that 4 hours before I meet with the customer on a deadline.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that I don't want to say pride myself on when it comes to the type of work and stuff that I do, but it's one of those things that I feel everybody should be like. I feel like honesty and upfront and all of that stuff, rather than damage control, is the way to handle real life situations.
It's much tougher to overcome. It's much tougher to deal with situations once the damage has already started, versus trying to prevent it or brace yourself for it. Because a lot of situations, and in business, and this is not just in content creation, this is like in business, all business. Whether you're in tech, whether you're in retail, whether you're streaming online, if you're honest about the realities, and this is something we talked about earlier, I canceled my Tuesday and Thursday shows indefinitely in the evening ones. We tried it, but I was like, I had to be honest, not just with the team, but myself. I was like, I'm tired. By the end of the day, when I get done streaming in the midday show, I go straight to work. Like, I don't go relax. I don't take a nap. I don't do anything. I just basically just close out windows and go straight to work for the design work that I need to get done for that week. Because a lot of stuff is deadline. You deal with deadlines on a daily basis. So understand, like, there's deadlines for things. Some things you might have a little leeway for, because the deadlines, even though you want things done in a certain time, maybe whatever's done is not necessarily due for a little while longer, or you have a little bit more give on certain things. And then there's certain situations where you're like, nope, this absolutely needs to get done no matter what. So you can kind of prioritize your time a little bit. So when I get done streaming, I go to work, and I'm like, I'm gonna hammer out a good 6 hours. It's a lot. I don't have the hardest job in the world, but it's still mentally exhausted by the end of the day. And then to do an evening stream on top of it right after, with like no food, not really doing much, it was a struggle. So, and I talked with you, and you're like, listen, I was going to tell you, I was already planning on telling you, you probably should cut it out. But you're like, the only reason you held off is because I said I was going to try it for a month.
Yep. Like when we had that conversation, and we talked about changing up your content creation schedule and what you wanted to do and how you wanted to do it and stuff like that. I was brutally honest with you about, the fun stuff that we used to do on Twitch and how cutting it out, I think really hurt us, and trying to be serious when we built a community based on trying to be goofy and have fun and
Mhm.
whatever else. And then, you kept biting off like, hey, like, yeah, like, I like this idea. I'll do some evening streams along with the morning streams, and then I'll throw in a YouTube stream for a podcast and all this. I was kind of like, man, you just like doubled your stream time.
I did. I did.
And that's
Pretty
a
much.
that's a lot.
And
And so I was
immediately
like,
felt it. Immediately
yeah.
felt it.
But you followed it up with, I'm gonna give it a few weeks to see if I like it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll let him have a few weeks. But he was about ready to get the bro, I don't think that you're gonna be able to do it. That's a lot of time and a lot of effort. And especially what a lot of people don't realize is splitting up your day that way makes it take up so much more time. It would be one thing to
It
add.
really does. Because you can't just go out and plan, like, normally, like, if you wanted to plan something after a stream, you can just go out and hang out with family. Not when you split it up into two. So I was like, I'll do Wednesdays. Because one, the reason that we're here on YouTube is to separate the goofy, silly shenanigans that we do on Twitch to having thoughtful, meaningful discussions about things that absolutely matter, which was something that was also really, really important to me. But balancing the two on Twitch just wasn't happening. And, we sat down. God, how long did we talk that day? Like 2 hours.
Yeah,
It was like a 2 hour discussion. It was like
yeah.
a 2 to 3 hour discussion where an epiphany happened. But this is one of the reasons why I have him as my content manager. He's someone I can lean to for honest feedback. Someone I can trust that will tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Because I could care less about people blowing smoke up my ass. I don't need you to tell me that the stream is doing great. I want to know how I can make it better. And that's my focus every single day. Is how do I make it better? What am I not doing yet, or what am I not doing enough of that I can work on and improve to make the stream better? It's not about the fancy logos and the lights and stuff. It makes it look cool, don't get me wrong. But content, it has to be valuable. It has to have value. And we were trying to, again, separate. We're trying to have two separate conversations. We were discouraging people from having fun on stream when we've encouraged it for a very long time. And that was a point you brought up. You're like, listen, you're basically telling people don't do that because I'm trying to make content. Because, we got known for having alerts pop up, things would happen, and I'd be right in the middle of a serious discussion. And I was like, it's unusable content. I can't use that. It's too distracting. It would take me 10 hours to pick through to try to make some semblance of an actual conversation. And the thing is and for those that might be tuning in and just listening, the moment we changed it, what was it, a week later? The moment we changed the format. Last week was like a start of everything. It was our first week with the new format. This week, it's performing better than it ever has. It's performing better than it has in months. Naturally. It's performing better than it has in months without raids. And it's a testament to, like, we're on the right path. But it took having someone to tell me what I needed to hear.
Well, and I think it honestly comes down to not just telling you what you needed to hear, but it's a huge weight off your shoulder when you find out that you're not doing things alone. And not just alone in like the content like in what you do on Twitch, but just alone everywhere. Like, we have great friends out there. We do. We have, in my opinion, your community has some of the best people that I know that are part of it. And one of the best parts about that is the fact that a lot of them you can lean on if you need some sort of support or help in some sort of way. And I think what really, really set it off was when we talked about it. We kind of decided to separate the content for both Twitch and YouTube and your Spotify chat and so forth. One of the things that really helped embrace that was everyone in the community's acceptance of greeting that with what they have, and that really helped solidify that we were doing the right thing, right? Like we talked about it, like the first week and some of this week, that's what we needed.
Yeah.
We needed to know that we were making the right decisions, that we were talking the right talk, and we were having that, and the community showed that. And that's one of the greatest things about, and we can sit here and talk about the integrity and the relationships that we have built through, some of the honesty and some of that stuff. Your community came out and showed why it's important to always be honest with the communities, and always be honest with your friends and your business acquaintances, or whatever you want to call them, your colleagues and stuff. It's because honestly, in the long run, that's what gets you where we are heading. And it was great because they definitely came out and showed us, hey, you made the right idea, you made the right call, now let's go get it. And that's awesome. Yeah. It was really good.
I mean, we're looking at on the YouTube side of things. We're fully aware. Trust me, we're fully aware. This is a brand new platform, a whole new venture idea. I mean, it's not necessarily new to what we've done before. We've definitely done serious discussions on Twitch, but we understand a little bit more about the algorithms and how content creation or the platforms like to kind of push you in certain directions. And if you try to veer off in too many different directions, it can become much harder for the platforms to go, we're going to show you to the right people. And so we just kind of solidified it and just kind of like, this is just going to be about this. We're just going to have fun. We're going to twerk on stream, do whatever we want to do. It's fun. It's silly. We have random conversations. And I've had the most fun I've had in a long time. I've had a blast every single stream for the past 2 weeks. Except for the day I woke up moody. But it ended up being a great stream anyways. But I just woke up super moody that day. I was like, man, I haven't been able to do anything in a long time. I don't know if you could hear the thunder, but we got storms.
I just actually heard it for the first time.
Yeah, we got storms here.
I've been saying that it's been going nuts. That's the first time I've heard it.
That was probably one of the louder ones. So it feels like it kind of died down, but I was a little worried we weren't going to have a stream today. I was a little worried. But the separating the content was a huge thing, and but you know how important my focus has been on community building. Like, it's one of the things we talk about. The community is everything. I want to make sure that the community is having fun. I want to make sure they're entertained. I want to make sure that when we have a stream, we want to do what they enjoy within reason, of course. Like, I'm not going to go and well, we know that I can't say never for most things anymore. I'm doing things now that I wouldn't do a year ago. But everything is community centric. Everything is about the relationships that we built, the friendships, and again, being honest about who we are, our integrity as people. I think that's what really draws so many people towards the show. Is we try our best to be our authentic selves. Like, we try to be true to who we really are. Yes, we might step outside our comfort zones. You might make me do stuff that, kind of makes me feel really, really awkward at times. Like dancing on a stream. That was different for me.
Yeah, well, and I'll be honest with you. We talk about comfort levels and growing and all this stuff, and you're doing things that you wouldn't have done a year ago. I'm going to be honest with you. I still, to this day, would not do a TikTok dance or twerk on stream. So, I'm just saying. So,
but
I'm proud of you.
It's all about
proud of you for what you did yesterday. In case anybody listening to this podcast missed it, Mighty Gamer Dad on Twitch, go back, watch November 9th stream. Guy gets down on some.
I'm just gonna forewarn you now that I am not a professional streamer. See, he's cutting out now, so I don't know if my stream is cutting out or if I lost Redbeard, but I've been having issues with Discord all day long. You got your back, Redbeard? Yeah, this is the storm coming through, which is good because we're getting close to the end of the podcast anyways, or the episode. Yep, and I lost him. Yeah, this is it's we got the storms going on. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I feel like this is a great point to just call it at the end, because I don't know if the storms are gonna go away anytime soon. So I got you on stream still, so you can still see me, wifey, right? Like, now, out of curiosity, am I smooth, or did I just lose? It could be an issue with with Discord. There's a lot of issues with servers, and there's so many different things happening right now with ISPs. It's been nuts. The past couple weeks have just been nuts in terms of like ISP issues. So it's very possible that Discord could be having some issues. I could even Google it, but we're not going to do that right now. But we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up. So unfortunately, I lost Captain here, but I think everything that we wanted to talk about is kind of out. We were able to discuss that. We talked about the integrity, having integrity of everything you're doing. Talking about being brutally honest about everything that you want to do, even at the expense of potentially. I wouldn't say you want to purposely hurt people, but I think being honest is a much better avenue than trying to please people. And it's a discussion that we really didn't get to touch on, which is how to get out of this people-pleasing mentality that everyone seems to have. So maybe we will save that for like a future episode where we talk about the people-pleasers. But I think those that are more into people-pleasing are the ones that tend not to be as honest, not only just with themselves, but other people. Not like they intentionally lie, but they are less likely to be honest about a situation if asked, that they might be afraid that might come off as abrasive. So like when we're talking about Captain Redbeard and his situation with his family, where he's at his girlfriend's grandmother's house eating food that was disgusting, and he was the only one honest enough to say this when everyone else agreed with him but hadn't said anything for years. That woman had no chance to grow and become a better cook because of it. The same thing happens in business and relationships and any business. Content creation could be a personal training, or maybe you run a tech company or a design company. Honesty goes a long way. It goes absolutely a long way. You'll get more respect. It'll make your life a lot easier, and people will value your opinion more so than if you just try to not tell them the truth. And before we wrap up, I got one more example that I can share with this. One of the things I'm very, very open and honest about, because I run my own design company. I do subcontract work for event companies, as well as supplement companies, but I also work with content creators. I design logos, overlays, things like that. The thing is I'm brutally honest with people about things. They'll come to me, ask me for a logo, and some of you will know this because I probably told you this already. If you're brand new to streaming, you're brand new to content creation, you come to me for a logo, there's probably a 90% chance I will turn you down. Not because I don't want your money, not because I don't want to work with you, but because typically 95% of the time, if you are brand new to streaming, your logo is not the first thing you need. And it's not something you should be spending hundreds upon hundreds of dollars to invest in at a level that I design. It's not necessary for you. And I will be upfront and honest with people. And it's one of my pitches when people reach out to me. One of the sentences I share is almost verbatim. If you are just a beginner streamer and you're looking for something temporary or inexpensive, I am not going to be the designer for you. If you're looking for something custom that matches your brand, your message, and everything that you want to portray, and you need someone to kind of recognize that and bring that vision to life, that's what I do. But if you're just getting started, you need some filler content in the meantime, you don't need me. And I will turn down a lot. On a weekly basis, I probably turn down more jobs than I actually get. But that's one of the reasons why I also have my subcontract jobs, because it's consistent. I have things coming in. I would rather see people thrive in this industry and put their money where it's important, especially in the beginning, because there's so much information out there that you can put money into. If you want to put your money else somewhere else, you have some money to spend, put it into a decent camera, put it into a good microphone, get some nice lighting, change things up to where visually you look good and you sound good on screen. You don't need a logo. You don't need fancy overlays. You don't need things to pop out every time someone follows you. It's not necessary. There's plenty of free widgets you can get online to do that. You don't need it. And I'm brutally honest with people about it. But it's also earned the respect of many people that they've come back to me a couple months later and be like, I'm ready to get a logo now. I know I wasn't before, but I wasn't ready because I'm just getting started. And you know what? They tell me I was right, because I tell them straight up, your vision now for what you want to do will change. If you're just starting out in this industry, your vision and what you want to do will change 6 months, a year from now. But eventually you will figure out the path that you want to go, your brand, your message, all of that. And once you figure that out, then you can work on a logo. Then you can work on bringing forth the thing, the idea, the vision to life in a graphical way. Until then, work on figuring that out. That's more important. Make your content better. Have fun with the process. You don't need a logo. You can get something temporary. They're $5, $10, $20. Something temporary is perfectly fine. So, but I know that Captain Redbeard, I lost him, but you know, he's in the chat room now. Once again, thank you so much. And by the way, happy birthday, Captain Redbeard. Seriously.
Appreciate that.
Seriously. He's back. I hear you.
Yeah, my video, for some reason, though, I can't connect to you anymore, so.
I don't know. It happens. It's probably Discord. But again, thank you for being on tonight and helping me out with the
Anytime.
The show. And once again, thank you for just being such an awesome friend. Being honest, telling me what I need to hear. Because I don't know how much longer it would have taken me to figure some of this stuff out without having someone else just be like, listen, you're trying to do too many things. You're veering off the wrong path. So surround yourself, surround yourself, and this goes for anyone listening, surround yourself with a good amount of people that are going to tell you what you need to hear. Get feedback, constructive feedback about everything you want to do. You don't need yes men in your life. If you want yes men, there's people that will do that for you. But ego is not something that is going to help you grow. It's not. You want to grow, figure out where you're struggling. Get some feedback from other people who are going to tell you honestly what they like, what they don't like. Figure out where you draw the line in certain things. Because everyone's going to have different ideas. Everyone's going to have different opinions. Some ideas you might like. Some ideas you might be like, I don't like that. Jot it down anyways. I'm going to tell you that now. Jot down those ideas anyways, because just because you don't think about it now, just because you don't like that idea now, you may be able to come back, brainstorm a way to make that somehow work, maybe just in a different way. And then you can go back and thank that person for their idea. I feel like I've done that a couple times with certain things. I can't remember everything off the top of my head here in the moment, but there's times when people said, oh, we could do this. I'm like, that's not really what I want to do. That's not really my thing. And the more I thought about it, I was like, well, what if we did this with it? What if we kind of changed this and, made it like a channel point redemption or something? That's how a lot of the channel point redemptions come to fruition, to be honest. You guys give me some stupid thing you want me to do, and I'm like, absolutely not. But I will for a channel point redemption. So, making me do stupid stuff. But that's going to be it for the day, you guys. I want you to know, I've had a blast. We got plenty more coming. We got some guests, hopefully in the works. We're going to be getting those lined up here shortly. And if you like the show, make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch too, but only do that if you want to see shenanigans, because that's what we're all about there. But again, Captain, thank you again. We'll talk to you later. You have a wonderful birthday, man. And everyone else, enjoy your hump day.